desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment offered by Mr. Jolly of Florida. At the end of the bill, before the short title, insert the following section. None of the funds made available by this act may be used to research, investigate, or study offshore drilling in the eastern Gulf of Mexico planning area.
Pursuant to House Resolution 333, the gentleman from Florida and a member opposed each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield myself as much time as I might consume. As a nation, we continually strive to achieve both energy independence as well as protect the environment, our critical habitats, and the quality of life in communities like Pinellas County, Florida, that I have the opportunity to represent. One way we strike that balance is represented in how we currently manage the Gulf of Mexico when it comes to oil drilling. Under a 2006 act, we allow for drilling exploration in the central and western Gulf off the coast of Texas and Louisiana and other states. But we have a ban that protects the state of Florida. That ban currently protects the state of Florida with a drilling ban of about 125 miles, or in some cases 235 miles. This ban has been in place for 32 years through the operations of the Appropriations Committee. And while the current statute allows for the ban through 2022, year after year, those on the other side of this debate, very respectfully, attempt to erode that ban. The truth is, we don't need any additional drilling in the eastern Gulf of Florida to achieve energy independence. There are nearly 1,000 active leaseholds in the central and western Gulf. There are probably nearly 3,000 more available. And to change the ban is just something that we don't need. This amendment is very simple. It says none of the funds may be used to study, prepare for, research, investigate any increased offshore oil drilling in the eastern Gulf, contemplating the expiration of the ban in 2022. I'm pleased to be joined in offering this amendment by my colleague from Bonita Springs, Mr. Clausen, my colleague from Tallahassee, Ms. Graham, and my colleague from Jupiter, Mr. Murphy. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida wish to be? I'm sorry, I did it again. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
I rise in reluctant opposition to this amendment.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from California for 5 minutes.
As in the case of a number of offshore-related amendments that we will deal with today, the Interior Appropriation Bill is not the appropriate venue, though I do understand it has been used in the past. I understand this amendment dovetails with the current congressional moratorium, and the Department of the Interior has no intention of acting in a manner that is contrary to congressional intent. The department is focused on the next 5-year oil and gas leasing plan, which is limited to 2017 to 2022. So many departmental activities in fiscal year 2016 are already limited in scope to 2022. If my colleagues wish to see the moratorium extended beyond 2022, then they should work with the appropriate authorizing committees. So with that, I would oppose the amendment and would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Gentleman from the gentleman from California reserves.
I reserve the balance of my time.
Reserves. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the chairman's understanding of the interests of those in the state of Florida and the current debate currently from those on the other side that wish to actually lift the ban. It's important that as a delegation we have the opportunity to have this debate. With that, I would like to recognize and yield 2 minutes to my colleague from Bonita Springs, Mr. Clausen.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized for 2 minutes.
I start by thanking Representative Jolly for his leadership and persistence on this issue. It is so important to my district, and to the chairman for allowing disagreement. Disagreement allows learning, and we appreciate your leadership in this regard. I speak in full support of Representative Jolly's amendment. I base my support on the enormous all-time high proven reserves elsewhere in our country and a conviction that we can focus in areas other than the Gulf. The private sector definitely needs cheap oil, and our businesses, our manufacturing companies cannot be successful without low energy prices. I know it because I lived it. But let's drill where drilling makes sense. And to us, it doesn't make sense to drill in eastern Gulf of Mexico. The recent BP settlement, the highest such settlement ever, is evidence that the economic and environmental risk of drilling in the Gulf greatly offset any potential returns. For those of us who live, work, have business in the Gulf, we were told that an oil disaster could never happen. And then it happened. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I say it's not worth the risk. I say let's do everything we can to never have more drilling in the eastern Gulf. I yield back with full appreciation.
Gentleman yields back.
Reserve.
The gentleman from California is recognized.
I would just say that, again, I'm in reluctant opposition to this amendment. This should be dealt with in the authorizing committees, and with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from California yields back. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you. I would close by offering my colleagues there is authorizing legislation that would extend the ban past the year 2022. This language simply says a ban is a ban is a ban. And while there is a ban on activities on drilling and the like, this simply says that no planning may occur for post-2022 drilling. With that, I would urge a yea vote, and I yield back my time.
The question is on the amendment. The gentleman yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Florida. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.